instance, IndyCar, we know a little bit as they've released the beginning part of their schedule out there. Throw up the Indy schedule for me. May 7th, St. Pete, opening weekend for IndyCar. That will be in conjunction again with the NASCAR Truck Series there at St. Pete in Florida as well. Then they move to Phoenix. Again, an IndyCar, NASCAR doubleheader weekend, I guess we could say, with those two circuits meeting up again in Phoenix like they did this year, earlier this year in Phoenix. That's happening. Then the IndyCar boys and gals go to Arlington. Then the Barber race coming up here, Long Beach. Then the Indy Road Course as well. And then, of course, the Indianapolis 500 at the end of May. And then the staple Detroit after that. We have the beginning, phase one is what they're calling it, of the IndyCar 2027 schedule. They put that down, a nice little graphic for us. We're waiting for the rest of it to come out. How many different, are we going back to Toronto like we're going this weekend? Washington, D.C. track we're 2 weeks away from that. Do we go back to D.C. or is that a one and done type of a race coming up, right? Arlington there in Dallas was a race this year. So a lot of question marks for the second half of that IndyCar season, and kind of have to hang out for that to happen. In terms of drivers out there, we told you before, Front Row Motorsports came out and said they expected Noah Gragson to return to the team for another year and into the future. Well, it's now official here this week as well. Noah Gragson will return to Front Row Motorsports in 2027. And, of course, he drives the number 4 Ford out there with his contract extension being official now as well. And with NASCAR going to Richmond this weekend, this week NASCAR announced that next year's Richmond Raceway races will open the chase for both the Cup Series and the O'Reilly Auto Series as well. Chase racing here for Richmond starting next year. The O'Reilly parts will kick off the chase under the lights on Friday, September 10th. Then the Cup Series opener on Saturday night. Night racing here to open the playoffs. That'll be on September 11th of 2027. So we're seeing the Richmond race move from the end of the regular season to the beginning of the chase next year. We do have the Vegas dates out there as well. The Spring NASCAR weekend in Vegas will take place March 19th through the 21st. And then they return to Vegas October 8th through the 10th as well. The South Point 400 is the race the Cup race that happens in October 10th. That's going to continue to serve as that big, important stop there in the NASCAR Chase Championship battle there in Las Vegas. We know NASCAR is going back to the WWTR, the Worldwide Technology Raceway, outside of St. Louis. It's going to open the final 3-race regular season stretch to set that 2027 Cup Series chase field. Yeah, that's when they're going there. Sunday, August 22nd next year for that race. Then you got Dover Motor Speedway announcing that mid-May return to the Monster Mile in 2027. That's right. 400-mile points-paying race on Sunday, May 16th. Of the O'Reilly Series will be there that weekend as well on May 15th there at Dover. We know Darlington, it begins with the spring doubleheader weekend at Darlington, April 2nd through the 4th. All 3 NASCAR National Series will be there for that first feature in the springtime. NASCAR will then return to Darlington Raceway on Labor Day weekend. That's when only the O'Reilly and the Cup Series battle it out there. The O'Reilly Series will be September 4th. The Cup Series will close out the regular season in that Cookout Southern 500 there on Sunday, September 5th for the Cup Series. So Cup Series regular season ends at Darlington next year. Then North Wilkesboro Speedway, they're getting an uptick here, but they're getting an old staple back as well. Yeah, North Wilkesboro Speedway, May of 2027 is when they'll be back there as well. It's a 5/8 mile oval, been around for a long time, was the all-star race for the Cup Series for a bunch of years, was a points-paying NASCAR race this year for the Cup Series. It's going to host its first ever NASCAR triple-header race weekend coming up in 2027. May 21st to the 23rd is when that's going to happen. Now, since they reopened North Wilkesboro Raceway, NASCAR, the Truck Series has been a part of the schedule there. And this year, 2027 at least, it'll be there May 21st on a Friday. Now, for the first time since 1985, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is going to compete at North Wilkesboro Raceway. That'll be on Saturday, May 22nd of 2027. Then the NASCAR Cup Boys go back to North Wilkesboro, and it becomes the All-Star race again there for that series. The winner's purse of $1 million will still be there, but North Wilkesboro becoming the All-Star race again after they went to Dover this year. Back to North Wilkesboro next year for that All-Star race. By the way, that $1 million, it's the largest single All-Star payout to an individual athlete in professional sports. The only difference is this year, Major League Baseball added the $1 million payday for the winner of the Home Run Derby for them. So it's tied there with the MLB Home Run Derby as well. So we're getting more and more of the schedule for us for NASCAR side of things, and some changes, right? End of the regular season changes, chase changes as well, at least the beginning part of it. It's going to be a different dynamic next year in 2027. And look, we still have racing going on, and racing this weekend coming up, and we'll start with the IndyCar racing this weekend. And they head to Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto here. The streets of Markham are having up for IndyCar this weekend. This will be the first of 40 IndyCar races held in the Toronto metro area. The first one, though, that is not held at the exhibition place where the last 39 have been held there. That's right. They're building a temporary track here, 2.1 mile track here outside of Toronto. 90 laps will be completed, 197.1 miles coming your way for IndyCar this weekend. What's the track layout for this temporary track that they're filling? Because it's a different track than the exhibition place that they've raced at all these other years. Throw up the track racing track here for me, and you see the turns and the layout of this track, folks. Yeah, Markham is using this new 12-turn, 2.19 mile street circuit here. Turn 5, well, the key part to Sunday's 90-lap race. Well, because it's complex, very complex, but also it's kind of like Long Beach's iconic hairpin there as well. And then it sets you up for your longest stretch of competitive real estate in the uphill turn into turn 6 out there, folks. That's right. That's that turn that you see on your left-hand side of your screen. You go out, do that hairpin turn around the outside, and then back in to make that on turn 6 coming up. That's an interesting turn coming up with some action should happen leading into that turn and then, of course, out of it as well. Drivers likely will consider that the best passing opportunity with that turn 5 area. The long sweeping sprint to turn 10, well, it could be another hot spot for action. That's down at the bottom of your screen if you look at it. Well, it's a quick left for the 25 drivers that'll be racing in this. And then they got to decide whether to pit or continue on the racetrack there out of turn 10 as well. Pit Road features something that I really enjoy that IndyCar does, a double-sided service area. We see that in Detroit. Detroit's had that since 2023, and I really, really like the double pit side of things here on this racetrack. Unknown because nobody's raced this racetrack before. First time the IndyCar guys will be on it will be for practice and those runs coming up here. It's going to be a fun little race, and Saturday qualifying 2:25 p.m. Eastern time, 11:25 a.m. out here on the left coast for those of us out here. Now the race will be at 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. 9 a.m. out here in the West Coast. Roll out of bed and catch some IndyCar racing on this new circuit that certainly they've laid it out in a format that this is going to get interesting out there. Now, there's no secret who the favorite is this weekend. We know who it is. He's on his way to win his record-tying 4th consecutive season title, and it'll be his 5th season title also. Of course, we're talking about Alex Palou out there. Nobody else to talk about here in these races. Well, he won the past 2 races. He's working on 4 consecutive top 5 finishes as well. So even if he doesn't win, he's finishing in top 5s and keeping the points number up there as well. You see, you saw earlier, he's up 110 points over Kyle Kirkwood there in that second spot. Now, Alex Palou has led 35.4% of the races in that stretch. 170 of 480 laps is what he's led. 3 of those races were on permanent road courses. This is a temporary one. So there's a little intrigue on who will win the championship left. Palou can't actually secure his latest championship this weekend. 12 drivers are technically still mathematically in contention for the Astor Challenge Cup in the Indy circuit. Now, the problem is he holds a 110-point lead. His nearest competitor, is right behind him there with meaning that is Kyle Cookwood. And no driver can make up that many points in one race here either. So the question is, can Kyle Cookwood get out there, and can Kyle Cookwood keep this and make this a little bit better of a race course here going forward? Now, the problem is Alex Palou ran away with the championship last year. Yeah. And now Alex Palou, with running a different season this year, he had some troubles this year. Did not lead the standings there after Phoenix, second race of the year earlier this year. But Alex Palou is 11 points higher with his lead over second place Kyle Cookwood than he led last year at this point. He's actually having a more dominant point season than last year, folks. Yeah. So obviously Alex Palou is the favorite to win this weekend. Unknown track on this racetrack, new to everybody. And by the way, next weekend's DC as well. So we have the same situation next weekend in IndyCar racing. But who to watch this weekend? If you want to see some intrigue, obviously Kyle Kirkwood is the guy in that second place. You want to watch for him, kind of take over the points here, win this race, and make the balance, that 110-point difference between him and the leader, make that a little bit closer here moving forward. But Kyle Kirkwood's 5 of his 6 wins in this series, including 1 this season, well, they've come at temporary street circuits. Like the one this weekend, like the one next weekend in Washington, D.C. He's got a good chance to win this race. The bigger issue for Cookwood, though, is Palou has not only won this year's 4 street races, that would be St. Petersburg, Long Beach, and Detroit. Palou has won those ones. But when he doesn't win, as I told you, he finishes second. And that doesn't get you much point differential when he's still finishing second, which he did do at Arlington in that temporary street course. The most points any driver can gain on Palou in a given event, if they're perfect, is 49 points. You have to run a perfect race, and you'll cut it almost to half. Yeah, so this deficit that Kyle Cookwood has to that lead, well, it's equivalent to more than 2 races to catch it. And it's 2 perfect races with Alex Palou messing up, and you only have 5 races to get up there and catch him. Alex Palou's winning this championship. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Now, others in the field, they've won up there in Toronto. Well, at the old track, at least, they've won it there. So that kind of, do you take any consideration? Scott Dixon, Will Power, Josef Newgarden. They've won multiple times up there in Toronto, outside of Toronto. Power won the Champ Car race in 2007. He took the 2010 victory under the banner of Unified Sport at that time. Yeah. Dixon swept the doubleheader back in 2013. He won again in 2018. He won also in 2022. Newgarden, Josef, he took victories in 2015 and 2017. Christian Lundgaard, 2023. Pato O'Ward won this race last year. Those are the active drivers to have won up in Toronto. Problem is, it was the old exhibition place racetrack. This is an all-new track here coming up with a temporary side. Do you put some faith that those guys can win on this temporary track? That's the question you've got going into this weekend. Pato O'Ward, he's produced top 5 finishes in each of his 4 races. A 4th place finish and 3 5th place finishes for him. I told you earlier, he finally got into that win column. He was running well, just getting on the podium or just outside the podium and not being able to get over that hill. He got the 1 win earlier this year and not been able to bunch up again. Competitive balance is high in IndyCar. The problem is you have one guy that's just a step above of everyone, and being Alex Palou. Palou, Cookwood, and O'Ward, they've accounted for 12 of the 20 top 5 finishing positions on this year's street circuits. 7 drivers have taken the other 8 spots. So there is uncertainty. There is guys and parity in this racetrack. Again, the problem is Alex Palou wins or finishes high up in these races. So this is pretty simple in what the statistics tell us going into this unknown race on this new temporary track. And being in Canada. There's new circuit on tap each of the next 2 weeks. It's anyone's guess who will be in the top 5 finishers coming up here. You have to lean on Alex Palou because he dominates, right, on this deal. But I'm going to go with the second place guy in championship points for the win this weekend. I'm going with Kyle Kirkwood. The reason why is, one, he can win this race, obviously, with it is. So can Pato O'Ward. I think he's got a good shot this weekend. Christian Lundgaard has a shot this weekend. But the reason why I'm going to go with Kyle Kirkwood, and Alex Palou's too easy of a pick. I don't like to pick the guy that kind of dominates. I'm going with Kyle Kirkwood because I would like to see the championship not be awarded for as long as possible. Let's extend this out a little bit. Kyle Kirkwood battle for Alex Palou, try to get closer in the points and keep the championship from being awarded before as close as possible to the end of season. I don't want to see the last 4 races be not competitive and not fun to watch because you know who the championship winner officially is out there. So I'm going Kyle Kirkwood for the IndyCar side of things. And